Hey guys, it is almost the end of November, and I thought for this month that I would do a quick flip through of my memory planner for this year, and just show you what months went well and what months didn't, because that's just the nature of it. I used this large format Happy Planner. The pages are 8.5 by 11, so it's larger than the regular planner. And I had to buy the big expander discs because after a while, the regular size discs just would not hold the pages anymore. So here we go. So to start the year off in January, I had my 2020 goals in the front, which were to declutter the master bedroom closet, put together and install the chute organizers. That was done. Keep the craft room clean and paint the table, my craft table. I actually ended up replacing my craft table. So that was done. And then stick to my intermittent fasting schedule consistently, not so much. Save money for Peru, not so much. I was supposed to go to Peru with a friend of mine who was living there, and then COVID came, and then forget it. That was just not possible anymore. So that one is off the list, but I do need to save money for a different vacation. For the first few months of the year, I started off using the monthly section. You can notice that the days of the week are here, but there are no like dates, which I really liked because you can put it in yourself. I was using this monthly section for gratitude. So I had some stamps, some number stamps, and I chose inks that matched that month's Cocoa Daisy kit. Since I was on the memory keeping team for Cocoa Daisy, I received their memory keeping products every month, and so that's exclusively what I've used in this entire book. But I would match the colors, and then every night before I went to bed, I would just jot something down. And this worked well for a few months until I got lazy, which you'll see. So January was a good month because I did everything. I did every page. I filled out every week. I journaled. I printed photos. You can see this is last year. I still had my Christmas decorations up January. Yeah, I did a pretty good job. It just documented everything. And when the month ended, instead of going to the next month, because there's a tab section, I would just use whatever leftover sections there were just for decorating. So that was January. And I started off using this system where for each day I had a square of decoration, a square rectangle for a photo, and a rectangle for journaling. And you can see that I did that pretty consistently for January. And it worked out well. It made the pages look, nice and full, and they looked good. I even started to fill this out a little bit, but and then here was February. I did the same thing with my gratitude. I just think it's really pretty to look back on this. And then February 1st was on a Saturday, so I had this whole beginning part to kind of do whatever, and I ended up doing my currently. I used the sticky notes from the kit that month, and I put my currently items here, and I liked how that turned out. And then I used the same system with decoration, photo, journaling, and that worked pretty well. I really liked February's kits. They were very cute. And then I did put a 1 here for March 1st because I didn't want the first week of March to have just one thing on it. So I didn't do anything here. Here was March, again with the gratitude. And then in March, I started to sort of go away from the plan that I had been using, and I was doing something different. So like for this month, for example, this vellum sheet came with these little sort of swirls, and I thought that would make a really pretty pattern. So I cut that out, and then I put the florals in the middle, and then I just sort of alternated my photos and my journaling. This was the first week in March, right before the COVID lockdowns happened, and my roommate and I took a drive up to Pennsylvania, and we visited the Flight 93 Memorial and Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water House, which I had never been to before. That was a great weekend, and it was basically our last weekend out of the house. The second weekend was when I think it was our first No, not yet. We weren't home yet because here I'm doing the SOLs at school. So this must have been probably our last week at school. And I started to document some of the stuff that was going on in the world. I wish I had done more of that. Kept like a COVID journal, but I didn't do it. This week also, I deviated from my normal plan. I stamped these things and cut them out, journaled across the top, photos across the bottom. There are lots of photos of my kitties. You'll see her everywhere. And I think this was the week that we ended up being home for the first time. And really not much happened this first week. We didn't really know what we were doing. I spent a day watching TV. I spent a day being lazy because we didn't have any guidance from our school system about exactly what we were going to be doing. They were trying to figure things out. And then here I went back to my original plan. And I think there's one, just the last 2 days of March, I didn't get photos done. And just a little bit of journaling about COVID there. And then for April, I think this is the last month that I actually completed the gratitude. And there was a lot of bright rainbow colors in the kits this month. So I used my normal plan for this first week, and the second week this was like a rainbow themed week, and then this third week I decided to use the printables. I cut out all these balloons and clouds, and I made this like scene, and I didn't want to put pictures in there because I really wanted the clouds to pop out, so I just journaled and that was it. I kind of liked how that spread turned out. And then for this one, I had been taking photos like every week. The view out my back deck. There's a river that runs behind my condo. And in the winter time, I have a great view even up and down to the left and the right because all the trees, the leaves drop. And then as the leaves come back, my view all but disappears. It gets even thicker than this. I never put the last photo in, but I kind of liked seeing all these pictures next to each other, kind of document just the passage of time, and then I did my journaling here. And then this was the first month that I didn't necessarily do every single week. I dropped the last week because, actually, no, that's not true. This was the 30th. So I guess I just had an extra page. May was the month that I started to drop off a little bit. It was getting busy at work, even though we were working from home. School was really weird. I stamped everything out. I just never wrote all my gratitude. And then for this spread, the first, second, and third were Friday and the weekend, and I didn't really do anything that weekend, so I just kind of wrote that I was lazy, and then I made these butterflies kind of flying across. I just love how this page turned out. I stamped butterflies in the background in 2 different colors, a paler color and then a medium color to make them look dimensional, and then I cut these butterflies out of one of the dashboards and just made it look like they were flying. And I probably filled this in after, I don't even know, work ? School stuff ? It was like every day was just kind of running into the next because I was sitting at my computer for 10 hours a day doing school stuff. And then here this week I made an attempt to go back to my usual, I put that I was going to put pictures in here and just never did. And then this one, even worse, I did all of these were stamps. This was this completely stamped layout, which I really liked, but I never then went back and put anything in it. And that's the 24th, and so there's a whole nother week here that I didn't do. Sometimes life just gets in the way. And then here's June, and I didn't do anything, no gratitude. So the beginning of June was when George Floyd was killed, and there was a lot of Black Lives Matter stuff happening. And so I just wanted to kind of document the week just sort of in photos. I live about half an hour south of Washington, D.C., so that's why this is here, because here's the White House, and then Black Lives Matter Plaza there. And then I went back to my usual, except no photos this week, just lots of journaling. Same thing here. Lots of journaling, no photos. Again, I was just home, not doing anything. So it was a little bit tough. But school was actually out. And so I was officially on summer vacation at this point. Here I was documenting my progress on a paint by number canvas. A friend of mine sent me this. My best friend Lisa, who lives in North Carolina, she sent this to me, and she and her daughter, who's 16 now, they each had one as well. And we would get on Zoom calls with each other at night and just like sit and talk to each other for like 3 hours. They're in North Carolina and I'm here in Virginia, and we were just painting. And so I was starting to document my progress on my painting. The canvas is pretty large. It's like 20 by 30. And we had a lot of fun doing that. And then I took a road trip to visit my parents in Florida. That at that time, the pandemic was really bad in Florida, and I was worried about my folks, but I knew they weren't going anywhere, and I had been trapped in the house for a month or longer, so I wasn't going anywhere, so I felt safe going to visit them. So I got in the car, and the cat and I drove down, and then that was that. I stayed there for a couple weeks. For July, I didn't have my stamps, so I wrote the dates in, and then I did 3 gratitudes, and that was it. So bad. Here's the first week in July. This spread was fun to put together. This was also made completely out of the free planner printables from Cocoa Daisy. Even if you're not a subscriber, you can go on and get the free planner printables and download them. And they usually have cute little things that you can cut out, decorations. And I created this underwater scene, and I loved how it turned out. And that might have been everything I did for July. July, I did nothing. Oh, actually, I'm wrong. Here, I did one more. I had intended to write on the back of these cards, which I did not do. Here is documentation of my craft room change. I had this table here. It's like, I made an Instagram post about this too. It was covered in junk. I took the table downstairs to my dining room. I gave my old dining room table to my niece, and then I bought these 2 craft desks from Wayfair and put them back to back. And I love how it turned out, so much better. And then on this last spread of July, I went back to my original plan, but I never put any photos in. So sometimes, you know, sometimes memory keeping can feel like a little bit of a chore. It feels a little bit like work sometimes. You have to make the time to do it. So for August, this was the first month that I tried doing a mind map. I got this idea from Audrey Med, and she puts them on her Instagram, and she has like directions on how to do it. And I thought it would be kind of cool to do that. So I decided to use my monthly layout for that this month, instead of just leaving it blank. And here I talked about my monthly goals. And then I just, for this particular layout, there were 1,000,001 floral die cuts. And so I decided to make my journaling and make a big square. And then this was outside on my deck. My roommate and I got a ton of plants, and everything was starting to bloom, and we put the cushions out, and everything was so pretty out there, and it's so green and beautiful that I wanted to put some pictures of that. And then we have some empty weeks of August. Ugh, so bad. So bad. September, I did a second mind map and then also a tracker. This tracker is also from Cocoa Daisy, but the trackers are for purchase. I think it's a couple dollars, and you get like several different variations. And this spread is one of my favorite spreads in the whole book. It's so colorful, but it's not like garish. I love the colors. They're muted, but not really. I don't know. The spread makes me very happy. I actually completed a tracker. Yay. That doesn't happen all the time. And then with the start of the new school year, and we knew we were starting virtual, I created my home office computer setup. And so I was documenting that and what that's going to look like. And then looks like I did nothing that week. Here this week, I went back to my old standby. This method really works. You know, the one photo, one journaling, one decoration really works in a pinch. And you can do the decorating part ahead of time, and you can do the journaling every night, and then go back through your camera at the end of the week and just pull out your photos. So whenever I'm like, I want to put something down, but I can't make like a big thing, I always go back to this. And then we had some more empty weeks. And then here's October. For October, I was putting down things that I was thankful for on the left, and then I created my tracker on the right. These, again, were from Cocoa Daisy printables. I printed out all these pumpkins on sticker paper, cut them out and stuck them down. I made a key for the things I was going to be tracking with different colors, and I think this is a cute page. I like how this turned out as well. And looks like the first couple weeks I didn't do anything. This week, I remember I created, because I was doing part of the blog for stamping, and I used the stamps to make these kind of raised banners of leaves. And then I was going to go back and fill it in, and I never did. And look at that, more empty pages. For November, this is the last month here. I have a big picture of the tree out front that's changing its leaves, and just that it's finally fall. And I created this layout about Election Day. I still need to go back and put in some journaling about this, but underneath these little flippy things, I printed out some memes that came out. There were a lot of memes about the elections, the counting, and then just sort of like the historic aspect of having a female vice president for the first time. And so I decided to put those underneath these little squares of paper that I thought were kind of cute, but I still need to journal about how crazy the whole election has been. Let me turn this over. And then let's see, I think I have one more layout. Yep, this is this week actually. Back to the old standby. One photo, one decoration, one journal. It's very quick to do. And today is the 29th, and so the next time I come back into this book will be in December, and then it'll be done. So there you go. There's a little flip through, a walk through my memory book for 2020. Oh, it's big and heavy. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below, and I'll answer anything that I can. Thanks for sticking with me for this time. Bye.